Well, doggone it. That last video went poof and is nowhere to be found. So all the steps of getting from here to there are now lost in space. So why not use this as an opportunity? Oh, everything's grouped, so I'm going to need to ungroup it. Shift-Command-G. Remember that? Remember that? Object, Group, Command-G, Shift-Command-G to ungroup. And now I can select these independent of one another. And if I hold down Shift, I can add to my selection. See how everything is selected except for this guy right here? Then I can hit Delete and then change the artboard back, because I showed you how to change the artboard with the artboard tool right above the evil slice tool. Don't touch that. The artboard tool, and I can drag this down until, remember, we had this at 1920 by 1080. So we can get close. We can try to get it close, or just go ahead and type 1080 in there, hit Tab, and then click on any tool to accept that. Now my artboard is back to the original size. And reflect. Now I showed you how to reflect this. So let's go back through those steps. Let's start over. And because I didn't really like, maybe this is an opportunity to have something cool happen, I'm going to tilt this a little differently. Say like that. And who knows, it's probably right where I started. And we'll go ahead and reflect these two. So now I'm completely confused. With this selected, under Object, Transform, we can get to Reflect. And by default, the Reflect Preview button is off. But because I did this, I think the Reflect Preview button is going to be on, and it is on. By default, it's off, so you can't see what's going on. You don't have any idea. And when you click on something, you have no idea what's going on, changing the angle, anything like that. I'm going to hit Cancel and go ahead and Object, Transform, Reflect. And once again, we have no preview. If we click Preview on, then we can see what's going on. But I don't want that little beak down here pointing downward. I want it right here. So if I turn Preview back on and click on Vertical, it's in the spot I want. If I click OK, I now have it pointing the way I wanted, but I wanted that original one too. So, oh no, Mr. Bill, Command-Z. Object, Transform, Reflect. And yes, there are more than one way. There is more than one way to do this. Now, instead of Vertical, I'm going to click on Copy, or instead of OK, I'm going to click on Copy. What a disaster this is. And then I can drag this copy over, and it'll give me the smart guides. But why don't I just hold down Shift so I know that I've got it just right? Let go, and now I've got the two copies of this using the Reflect tool. Now, what if I want two more? And you saw that I had very cleverly used the Artboard tool in order to expand my artboard to make room for it. If I start dragging it up, I can keep dragging. Or, this is 1920, I want it to be a square. I can type 1920 here, hit Return, and then click on any tool to set that. And then I'm hit Command minus so I can see what I'm doing. Command 0 so it fills the screen. There we go. And I'm going to pull this down. And I kind of want these things centered on the screen. But if I click Center, Align to Artboard, if I click Center, do you know, can you predict what's going to happen? Boom. And that, hey, is different. Command-Z to undo. How about we group this? Command-G. Remember, Command-G is group. Object, group. Learn. Learn, 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 learn. Okay? Now, with this grouped, I want to reflect this up here. So, Object, Transform, Reflect. And this time, gosh, it sure looked like that moved just a touch. I don't know why that would be. Because the preview button's on. There we go. Look at that. those things don't look like they're exactly aligned. We'll deal with that later. For right now, let's just make this happen. We'll click copy and then shift drag up so we get our little best of all worlds. And now we can make this a little bigger and group it prior to using our align, our vertical align. And now that placed it dead center, and this shouldn't move it at all, and it doesn't. And we have our wonderful 4 copies of one little fish, whatever this is, and just learning new skills, adding to the mix with the artboard and with things selected, object, transform, reflect, and you might notice there are other choices here, including the Command D that we used way back in the Gravatar videos. So there you go, a few more tools to add to your arsenal, and hopefully this video won't get lost in the ether